98.3 FM and 1340 AM KIHR and GorgeRadio.com presents the Mid-Columbia Today Show with Mark Bailey. Special thanks to our sponsors, Skyline Hospital, Eastside Paving, and Del Carpine Automotive. Now, here's Mark Bailey.
Good morning, it's 8:05, Mid-Columbia Today. Mark Bailey with Cameron Eisenberg producing. It is a Monday. It's going to be a hot first few days of the week, and then apparently it's going to rain at the end of the week. Of course it's going to rain at the end of the week. Not while I'm working. It's going to rain while I'm not working. But that's how Oregonians live. That's how we've lived for years. Here's what we're doing this morning. First part of the show, we're talking to City Hood River. Mayor Paul Blackburn, City Manager Abigail Elder are here. Abigail's got messages for all of you, by the way, just so you're warned right now. So pay attention whether you're on radio or you're listening on your podcast, whichever way. Second half of the show, we'll talk Klickitat County. Todd Andrews, Klickitat County Commissioner, is scheduled to be with us. But first, as we always do, what does this day mean and what does it mean at least to some people? Well, in 1815, Napoleon Bonaparte abdicated for a second time as Emperor of the French. This day in 1938, a rematch that bore the weight of both geopolitical symbolism and African-American representation, American Joe Louis knocked out German Max Schmeling in just 2 minutes and 4 seconds to retain his heavyweight boxing title in front of 70,000 at Yankee Stadium. 1941, Nazi Germany launched Operation Barbarossa, a massive and ultimately ill-fated invasion of the Soviet Union that would prove pivotal to the Allied victory over the Axis powers. 1944, President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed the Servicemen's Readjustment Act of 1944, more popularly known as the GI Bill of Rights, which provided tuition coverage, unemployment support, and low-interest home and business loans to returning veterans. 1945, the World War II Battle of Okinawa ended with an Allied victory. 1970, President Richard Nixon signed an extension of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that lowered the minimum voting age to 18. 1977, John N. Mitchell became the first former U.S. Attorney General to go to prison as he began serving a sentence for his role in the Watergate cover-up. 1981, never forget hearing of this. It was Howard Cosell who told a lot of the nation of this on Monday Night Football. Mark David Chapman, it was the killing the year before. Mark David Chapman pled guilty on this day to killing rock star and former Beatle John Lennon. 1992, the Supreme Court in RAV versus City of St. Paul unanimously ruled that hate crime laws that ban cross-burning and similar expression of racial bias violated free speech rights. And in 2011, after evading arrest for 16 years, mob boss James Whitey Bulger was captured in Santa Monica, California. Days for today, it's National HVAC Tech Day today, which I guess if it's going to be in the 90s, we better salute those folks who are keeping our air conditioners going. So we salute them. It is World Rainforest Day today. It's Take Your Cat to Work Day. Now, whether your cat wants to go to work is really another question here. It's also Stupid Guy Thing Day. And, folks, I'm sure we can start to list those in your mind, especially those of us who are married and then the women in our lives, I'm sure, who are already thinking what the various list of stupid guy things that they've witnessed now over however many years you've been married. Days for today, it's National, and this is not going to be a healthy day, just so everybody knows, National Chocolate Eclair Day today to start us out. And then later on, it's National Onion Rings Day today. Good onion rings are hard to find, by the way. They're great, but it's hard to find people who make good ones. So anyway, that's what we're doing today, is having onion rings, hopefully at some point today, and we'll talk City of Hood River when we come back right after this.
Does your child or young athlete complain of heel pain? Heel pain in active children and teens is a common medical condition. Children often complain of pain during or after sports or running and jumping activities. Parents may also notice changes such as toe walking or a limp. This is Dr. McMahon, foot and ankle surgeon at Cascade Orthopedics. We offer advanced treatment for all foot and ankle conditions for patients of any age. Please call for an appointment or visit cosmc.org, Cascade Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, where our goal is getting you back to being you.
Hi, I'm Jackie from Hawks Ridge Assisted Living. As a new year begins, it's a natural time to think about comfort, care, and the next step for those you love. We currently have availability including 2 spacious one-bedroom apartments and 1 beautiful studio apartment. Located in the outdoor paradise of Hood River, Hawks Ridge offers 4 levels of assisted living care that support independence while providing peace of mind. We'd love to welcome your friends, clients, or loved ones home. Hawks Ridge, your new home in the new year.
Eastside Paving has a local team of professional paving experts ready to handle any size job for you. Eastside Paving's 35 years of experience provides the knowledge, procedures, and resources to ensure the job is done correct. Licensed, bonded, and insured in Oregon and Washington, Eastside Paving specializes in industrial, commercial, and residential jobs. Whether it's overlay, parking lots, private roads, patching, or driveway resurfacing, Eastside Paving has you covered. Call Rick Saran today for a free estimate. 503-519-6478. EastsidePaving.com. CCB 68962.
Kubota keeps the job site running smoothly with the #1 selling compact excavator lineup in the world. Reliable, capable, and backed by strong dealer support. Stop by today to power up your crew. Right now, bring home select Kubota excavators with 0% financing available or save up to $7,000. Now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/disclaimer for full disclaimer.
Sea Shepherds, 440 Riverside Drive, Hood River, your Kubota dealer. Mid-Columbia Today is a public affairs program of Bicoastal Media Columbia River, 98.3 FM and 1340 AM KIHR and GorgeRadio.com. Now, back to Mark Bailey.
We are back. It is 8:10 in the morning on Mid-Columbia Today. Hood River Mayor Paul Blackburn, City Manager Abigail Elder are here. Good morning to you all.
Good morning, Mark.
And
Good morning.
Thank you for being with us. And we got a laundry list of things here to go through. Actually, Paul, we'll start with a reminder here first. Abigail is doing something here real quick, so I'll start with Paul. Fireworks are banned in the city of Hood River. Hood River County banned them here last week, but it was already banned in the city.
Right. A couple of years ago, we realized we're doing this nearly every year. Let's give folks a little heads up. And so the rule here in the city of Hood River, you may light fireworks off on New Year's Eve only. The rest of the year, they are not permitted. Let's leave it to the professionals.
All right. So, and again, that's for the household amateur use of fireworks. We had the fireworks show folks on I think Friday actually on the show, but the big show continues.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's leave it to them.
So that reminder out of the way. Jurisdictional transfer, Abigail, for the City of Hood River receiving from ODOT. This time it is what's known as Highway 281 technically, but people I think know it as something else.
Right. This is 12th and 13th.
Yep.
In the city, and we've been working. I don't know, Mayor, a couple years. To negotiate a transfer so that the city could own that property, own those streets, because we wanted to make them more pedestrian friendly, make some changes. For the last several years, we've been working through a streetscape plan. So this will take effect officially on July 1st, but both parties have signed the paperwork. It's a big accomplishment.
I remember when you first started talking about this. I remember, Paul, I vividly remember making the remark to you of, one of the things that you had to be careful of as a city was, this seems like a good idea, but be careful what you might get stuck with.
Yeah, I got to dredge up the old, a pig in a poke. It's, as Abigail said, the moment we take ownership of that street, it will be our worst quality street. So you want to make sure that there's not deferred maintenance. It would really cost us. And we did get millions of dollars to take it off of their hands. And we're excited that we can now do things more in line with city goals because we now own that main thoroughfare.
I think there was a couple sums of money in particular here that were involved.
Yeah, there was. Part of it will be, and I apologize in advance, but we will have to replace all of the sidewalk ramps on 12th and 13th. So some of that is reimbursement for the city to do that work.
Which ODOT, by the way, would have had to do also.
Yes, exactly. And they will do a number of the ramps. We will do pieces from May to not quite Belmont, and then they will be doing other pieces.
And that's in relation to an ADA ruling from a number of years ago from the courts that a lot of cities got caught in. And I think you did work downtown, I think a few years ago anyway.
It was just last year.
Well, was it last year?
In fact, the paperwork on that is not yet complete.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought there have been enough.
It all blurs together.
I've been behind enough traffic things in this gorge that they all blur together at this point.
Yeah. But as you mentioned, downtown, you'll remember that the city did a jurisdictional transfer for that piece, for Oak Street. That was during the pandemic. So little by little, we are taking ownership of the streets in our city.
how will this benefit? I mean, two ways, one of which I guess is the obvious. You've got the streetscape project you're doing. This now gives you control. And you also, even though you could have gotten ODOT to do some of it, you would have been on their timetable. So I imagine the big first advantage is now you can do things on your timetable.
Yes, exactly. Unfortunately, part of the things we want to do are tens of millions of dollars away. So as development pops up in the urban renewal area, there more things will happen. But we do have our very first chunk of this happening on Taylor extended, so that right by Pine Street Bakery, there's going to be some changes kind of soon.
But other advantages to this, Abigail, what does this allow the city to do besides just do streetscape?
Yeah, so the streetscape is huge. It also allows us to react more quickly. So, for example, if we wanted to put in specific sidewalks, or we wanted to put in bike lanes, or to change parking patterns or pieces, we would be able to do those things much more responsively than we could when ODOT owned the street.
And I would imagine, speed limit's what I think of here, because that has, as you are aware, Paul, always been talked about up there.
Boy, it's a kind of a thoroughfare, isn't it?
Well, it's a state highway, and it was built to move traffic. Are there still responsibilities? Because there's still a state highway at one end and at the other end. Are there still responsibilities the city has because it is a state highway specifically?
Yeah, it still is a state highway. Just this piece of it is owned by the city. One piece of the history of that road was that it used to be a primary space for truck traffic. Now we don't see a lot of trucks. The trucks we see in that area are local. Other trucks tend to use 35 or, on Country Club Road, that area. So we still have to accommodate truck traffic. And that's a big piece when we look at 13th and May. And, the city hopes to someday put a roundabout there, but it will have to definitely be designed for trucks.
Let us talk about 13th and May real quick.
My favorite intersection in the whole town.
And then this gets to a sidewalk, which I'm going to admit, I didn't realize this was quite as vexing as it is, apparently. But there is a sidewalk at 13th and May that has been, and as I start to think about it now, I've seen where it's blocked off. Abigail, go into the story, because you were the one that this was put on the list at your request.
Once upon a time, there was a sidewalk on the northwest corner of 13th and May. It's right in front of a Providence building, another medical building, on the same block as the middle school, across from Jackson Park, a really important sidewalk. And what you might not know if you were just walking on the sidewalk and not looking around is that sidewalk's actually cantilevered. We call it the elevated sidewalk because it has piers to hold it up. Those piers are, 50, 80 years old. They've started to crumble. So we were working with ODOT to replace that sidewalk. It was a major project, and it's been closed for a year. My apologies to everyone, particularly the hospital and the school. It's been a real frustration for everyone. And as we try to work things through with ODOT, we have come to the conclusion that it's not doable. And so last week, the Oregon Transportation Commission, the state board for ODOT, decided that we can cancel that project. We can, the city can take ownership of the sidewalk again. We'll do some mitigation work and have it open, we hope, by the time school starts. So it's been closed for a year. You will see no changes except for us to mitigate things, and we'll reopen it. And for me, I'm taking the win. It's been a long year.
You said mitigation. At some point, do we go from mitigation to actually fixing it?
Yes. 5-10 years from now, the city's going to have to fix it.
And
we
thought we were on track to do that, but as anyone who owns an old house can relate, sometimes you open up the wall and it's like, oh dear golly, this is a bigger project. And so Abigail and staff have done a great job of managing the cost containment on that.
Can you fold that into streetscape? Is that possible?
We wish that it was 94 feet further east and it would be in the urban renewal district.
It's not in it.
A repeatedly investigation. It is not. I keep hoping maybe someone's going to decide it is. It is not, right?
Correct. Yeah, it touches the urban renewal district. But
I thought I'd throw it in.
Appreciate you. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because just a few meters to the east of that, we're going to be eventually doing a huge improvement with the roundabout, and that would be logical.
I would say, do you try even to do a complete fix till you get a roundabout in there? Because I can see where
That's a great question.
You don't want to fix it and then
That's it.
rip it up.
Exactly
again.
right. Yeah.
Actually, this does give me a chance to tell a story, though, at that location. At one time, and I think it was a little bit further to the west of it, but not to the middle school. There was, in that area where there was a building, there was a area where it just kind of dropped straight down
Wow.
in some tree. This was probably 89 or 90, very early in my life here.
Oh, wow.
And an woman was trying to get to one of the doctors that was in that area. And apparently we learned later she wasn't supposed to drive, but she got in the car.
Oh, my God.
With our family. She drove the car
Oh no.
Into the creek.
basically into the creek. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was like it was vertically straight down, and you could not see it from
Oh no.
until you looked at the
Wow.
side and looked over. She was unhurt, by the way. I will
Wow.
throw that in.
Wow.
But yeah, I remember that vividly. That it was this older 50s type car, of course.
Yeah.
And you can see the fins.
Those are built like
You
trucks.
kind of see the fins first when you look down the back end fins. That
oh,
was
my
it.
gosh, how terrifying.
It was terrifying and also funny at the same
Yes,
time.
yes.
I hate
Once
to
you
admit.
knew everybody was safe,
Once
it
you
was-
once you knew everybody was safe, it was pretty funny.
40 years later, yeah.
40 years later. So anyway, also on the city agenda tonight, I noted something that has been there before. I'm thinking this is an update. Taxi cabs and money and fees.
We're quite excited because Uber called us back. It's hard to get Uber to call you back.
Okay.
We our last communication from them had been in February, and then every week or so I'd send a little note saying, "Still out here? You still like hello?"
Yeah.
And in June they returned our email, and so they have made what they consider their last offer, and so it's for council to decide if they are willing to adapt their fee schedule to meet Uber's offer, or let it pass. And if we were to not do it, Uber has indicated that they will probably try to work on something at the state level rather than negotiate with individual cities.
Which doesn't surprise me.
There's a fantastic phrase in here that I learned. Network transportation providers. That's what they technically are.
Companies, TNCs.
TNCs.
Oh, great! Another
acronym.
Another government title. Great.
So that's what we're think about it. If you're Maddie Green running a taxi cab company and all of a sudden Uber is coming, it's like, okay, what's fair here? Like, there's no way the local guy should be punished, but at the same time, it's hard to keep up with the demand on a Saturday night in June. So we want there to be adequate taxi service for our people.
And that's where I keep coming back, though, to be honest, is the free market operating. And my thing was, of course, don't make the guys who do the taxi cabs in the city have to go through more red tape than the Ubers of the world, et cetera.
Exactly.
Because you're at that point, then it's not a fair marketplace.
Exactly.
I mean, my suspicion is eventually companies react to demand.
Yes.
And if the demand, I mean, even I know there are people who want, it's like, well, but there's these people that could drive drunk, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But eventually it's the companies that have to be able to make money themselves.
And the individuals, right? Think about it.
Yeah.
If somebody signs up, let's say it all goes through, then somebody's like, well, there's a job for me out there, which is sitting outside the pub from 9 to midnight to maybe get a ride. Is that a fun job? Maybe not. Well, it'll be interesting to see, even if we permit it, if individuals sign up to be Uber drivers.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, is there enough market here anyway for it to matter?
Right, and that's an important distinction. The city has created the regulatory framework to allow transportation network companies to operate here. It doesn't mean that we can recruit them or make it worth their while.
Or nor should you, quite honestly.
Right.
Exactly.
Nor should you. A couple other things before we get away here, which actually was kind of, I'll go to my list now. But no, taxi cabs I put on there.
That's great.
Housing and police, because you've got tomorrow night, it's a housing town hall, and I think you've got a panel discussion in here.
That's right. We have some local experts to talk about housing, kind of the state of housing right now in Hood River. I think we can all agree we need more, and what their different agencies and groups are doing, and then what we hope to see in the future. So the city is, both with housing and police, we've talked about it before, looking at putting a bond measure on the November ballot to ask voters if this is something they would wish to fund. And so this is part of that process to learn more.
And I'll put in a pitch. If you have not been to Taco Bell recently, please drive by right across the street, Mariposa Village is astonishing looking and opening, and families are moving in the next weeks. It's like amazing that that's coming, actually happening.
I'm assuming we got a ribbon cutting coming up here.
It's going to be when it sort of fully fills. So I
Okay.
just checked in; it will be next year for the ribbon cutting.
Oh, okay.
But the beginning of occupancy has begun.
Oh, really? So people are already moving in?
Yeah.
I thought they were moving in August.
They
but-
signed leases.
Or
and
they're
it's-
signing, okay.
It's happening.
Yeah. There's-
Like exciting.
I know they got one set for this summer, and then there was another set, I think, coming right,
right.
after that.
Yes.
Sometime, I think that's why the mayor said
So
January.
that's the
Yeah.
kind of thing we can do if we have, another opportunity to have some more low-income housing money that we can partner with the feds and the state and the LIHTC and the FinTech, and I mean, there's a lot of acronyms, but we made 130 units. Wow.
Which I always come back to, and that's great, but I always keep coming back to where's the next step, and that's the problem. I mean,
Yes.
you can get low income housing money.
Yes.
That's just competing with other communities, and eventually your number comes up.
Right,
Yes.
there's subsidies
And to
available.
me, the housing discussion has to be about
The other rungs on the ladder.
the other rungs on the ladder.
Totally.
Yeah, at
and
this
that will
point.
definitely be tomorrow night's conversation. So that's 6 to 8 p.m.
Yeah.
at City Hall.
And then Monday of next week,
That's right, 29th.
you're going to have a open house at the City Hall, essentially. But
That's right.
This is specifically for people to go look at the police station, such as it is.
And I encourage folks to come take a look at the state of affairs of your police officers. It is in need of improvement.
So that'll be on the 29th from 5 to 7.
This is your one chance if you ever wanted to see the
So-
inside of a police station.
What I was going to ask is, I think I detect the track. The police bond is happening. I think I feel like that's the track we're on here.
Right. We've
Yeah.
got the housing and the police bonds in preparation, and we want folks to see.
But I think, as everybody kind of alluded to that's been involved in this, the police one's kind of straightforward. It's pretty
That's
easy
right.
for people to understand.
They're in a
Yeah.
basement.
Yeah.
The basement,
A
it's
fire
basement.
engine bay.
Yeah. Yes or no?
Then
I
a
mean,
former farmer
that
garage.
That one is really straightforward. Everybody's acknowledged the housing one isn't, because this is something a little different. It's a little more abstract.
Right.
So I asked this, maybe Paul in particular, because eventually you'll be one of those voting on this to whether or not to go forward. Do you feel like that you're starting to get clarity of what you might ask for here?
We are exactly starting to get clarity. We've had a fantastic group of contractors helping us figure out the right focus and what resonates with people, and the message is firming up. We of course want to be responsive as a piece of land might pop up, but we also want to be clear about what it is we would intend to do with the folks' money.
And you guys mentioned contractors. I've always felt like that's, at times at least, and goodness knows there have been a lot of city governments and councils and administrators go through this process. That's like, okay, what do the contractors need to build these rungs to be profitable for them? Unless we do that, it doesn't matter anything else what we do.
And on another show, let's talk about it. We've done so many attempts at middle housing, changing the code, and we're the leaders of a state program about a MURL, which is another acronym for borrowing money to build smaller homes, and the price of money has a big impact. The national the tariffs and the interest rates, we don't control it as much as I wish we could, and so we're trying to move the needle.
I just remember a few months ago, Dustin Nilsson, your city planning director, did say at one point, we don't know if some of these moves have worked because the interest rate situation was such that
Exactly.
Yeah, and the cost of land.
you don't know
You don't
Right.
know.
at that point. And land supply is always going to be a problem here.
We have, as you know, we have limited power.
Yeah, and on that part of it, that's you kind of got to wait till it gets favorable, then you can evaluate some of these things.
Right. So this looking at a bond for housing is one of the biggest and last tools in our toolbox.
Okay.
And it was identified by our affordable housing strategy in 2022, I think. And so, been working on this a long time. It's good to be able to come to a decision point soon.
And just quickly to that point, for everyone who says, why doesn't the mayor just make there be low-income housing on the Marriott hotel site? And the answer is, because we don't own it. We do not have the capacity.
Wait. Oh, okay. Yes, I'm not surprised there because you don't own the land. I take it you've gotten calls.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's not the system of government we live in. We can't do this.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you.
Nor do I want to be in another system of government that we allow
Also
it.
that.
I don't want that. I just realized there's one thing we forgot, Abigail, in your list before I get away. Actually, I joked about this off the air, but I will say that this is something that I think people have to be reminded of sometimes, and that is keeping rights of way clear of the vegetation that you have on your property. That is something I'd like to remind people of.
Exactly. I feel like I've always got these seasonal reminders, right? Basically, that space in front of your home or in front of your property, that's your responsibility, even if the city, owns it, that sidewalk, that street. And so this time of year, I'd like to remind you that please trim back those bushes and trees that, are blocking the visibility in intersections, that are poking out and hitting children when they're walking, to a park or to the pool or other places. So, please do your part and maintain that property.
Yes, the sidewalk primer, which is it's the homeowners to shovel and it's the homeowners to trim.
See.
Yep, and your neighbors will call me about it. So please, for my sake, please take care of this.
See, my issue is we have a magnolia tree. I have to think up high.
Oh, I bet that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It is beautiful, but the problem is because we have west winds.
Yes.
Yep.
And the sidewalks to the
forever trimming that thing back.
Yes. There's a particular person who's a very good friend of mine who makes a lot of money because we have to have 2 trees trimmed. That one time he had just done the job and I saw him at a sandwich shop. I just said, so you're getting lunch with my money.
Yeah. And that's a great reminder as well. If you have street trees, it is your responsibility to trim them. If you do not, the city does trim a couple of times. We'll do a portion of the city every year, and we might not be as
careful,
graceful with your tree as you might. So please take responsibility.
8:30 in the morning. Thanks for being here. Appreciate
Thanks so
it.
much, Mark.
City Hall, Hood River City Council night at 6 o'clock. We'll have a Click-Attack County after the news after this.
Hi, this is Nicole with McCoy Holliston Insurance, powered by Your Policy. We're honored to be recognized the best insurance agency in the Gorge 5 years running. This reflects the trust, loyalty, and long-term relationships we've built with our clients for nearly 80 years. At McCoy Holliston, we take pride in offering dependable guidance and personal service. Whether you need protection for your home, car, business, farm, or life, your trust means everything to us. Call us at McCoy Holliston Insurance, where relationships and service still come first.
U-Cut is happening now at beautiful Hood River Lavender. Don't miss this year's early lavender season as the fields burst into bloom with vibrant color and the calming scent of lavender at its peak. Stroll the farm, cut your own bouquet, and browse handmade gifts and essential oils that capture the season. Then, just steps away, unwind at Stave and Stone Winery with award-winning wines, vineyard views, and the perfect summer afternoon. Come for the lavender, stay for the wine. Visit Hood River Lavender today.
Coffee for Mid-Columbia Today guests is provided by Hood River Coffee Roasters, the Gorge's local coffee roasters, on Tucker Road on the Heights in Hood River.
8:33 in the morning. Check you what's in the news. 2 people were injured in a Sunday night motor vehicle accident on Highway 97 just north of the Columbia River. According to the Washington State Patrol, a car operated by a 32-year-old man from Biggs was southbound on Highway 97 at milepost 1. The vehicle struck the guardrail, overcorrected, then hit an SUV before striking the northbound guardrail. The man was taken to Cadillac Medical Center in Richland, while the other driver, a 59-year-old woman from Goldendale, transported to Adventist Health Columbia Gorge in the Dalles. Hood River Police on Saturday say along with Hood River Fire Department, they responded to 4 separate incidents where someone tried starting a fire. The locations of the fire were on J. Meyer, the Frisbee Golf Park, and 2 bathrooms at the marina. Hood River Police are asking if people see any suspicious activity to call them at 541-386-2121 or 541-386-2711. If it's an emergency, call 911. A vehicle went into a house early Saturday morning in Lyle, leading to a fire. Lyle Fire and Rescue District 4 reported the vehicle had traveled eastbound on State Street, departed the roadway, crossed the intersection at 3rd Street, and struck the northwest corner of a house. Neighbors and house occupants had successfully extinguished a small engine compartment fire using a fire extinguisher and garden hose prior to fire crews arriving. Multiple Click-Attack County Sheriff's deputies were present with all occupants from the vehicle and house accounted for. There were no reported injuries, but significant damage was sustained by both the house and vehicle. Fire crews held a grass fire south of Highway 14 near Lyle at milepost 72 to less than a quarter acre. Lyle Fire and Rescue District 4 says the fire was situated adjacent to the railroad tracks on the north side in close proximity exploding into a 20-foot rock cliff. Lyle and Bingen Fire, along with Columbia River Gorge National Scenic Area crews, responded to the fire, which was extinguished in less than an hour. A representative from Burlington Northern Santa Fe responded and ensured train operations were halted for firefighters' safety. Crews successfully deployed 2 hose lines from Highway 14 up over the beach area between the highway and railroad tracks. Our current temperatures at this time: Stevenson 65, the Dalles 69, Hood River 67. It is 8:35 in the morning on Mid-Columbia Today.
Hey, it's Zach from Del Carpine Automotive. You know those tall Sprinter vans that look like they could secretly double as apartments? Yeah, we work on those, and we know them really well. Whether it's your adventure rig, work van, or mystery mobile full of camping gear and snacks from 2022, we've got you covered. We're now just 10 minutes up the hill in our great new location in Hood River. Come see us. From Mercedes and Ford, big rigs to Sprinters, no jobs too big or small. At Del Carpine, we work on them all. Family owned and locally trusted.
When it's time for new floor covering, there's no better place than Affordable Floors and Abbey Carpets. Let Larry, Morgan, or Shelby guide you to your perfect floor. Affordable Floors, 1512 Osprey Drive across from Windmaster Market in Hood River.
When you need septic tank service of any kind, call A1 Septic Tank Service. From installation, drain fields, and tank pumping to inspections and portable toilet sales, A1 does it all. Serving the Columbia Gorge since 1964. Learn more at a1septictankservice.com.
Mid-Columbia Today is a public affairs program of Bicoastal Media Columbia River, 98.3 FM and 1340 AM KIHR and GorgeRadio.com. Now, back to Mark Bailey.
Don't have our second guest, at least right now. Cameron will continue to try to roust him along here. I'll tell you what might be happening here. Well, sometimes people go on vacation, they don't tell us. But also number 2 is, this is one of those months where it's a fifth Monday, next Monday of a month. And people get confused. I should have sent an email. We go by first Monday. This was fourth Monday that people are on, because usually there's not a fifth Monday. And so you tend to think of it as the last Monday. And in this case, it's not the last Monday. We're the fourth Monday of 5. So hopefully we'll get that straightened out here. If not, we'll invite the guest back on. Usually I send reminders just before I leave on the weekend, and I didn't do that this past weekend. I've been busy with a lot of things. You think with the baseball season, then I get less busy, and it's not happening. I told that story on 13th and May, by the way. Nearby 13th and May. I'd have to go up there and see if it's even possible anymore that could happen again. I will never forget it. It's one of those, it's just impressionable when you're young on a job. And I drove over there, which is not very far from our studio. I think Joe Wampler, the former county sheriff, who was still the city police department at the time, was there responding. And we're looking over this. I mean, this vehicle had just, there were some trees and stuff there, and it just completely disappeared. And once you realized everything was okay, I mean, the first thought you have is, oh my gosh, is someone badly hurt in this? And once you learn they were okay, and we learned also as this was being investigated, if you will, that this elderly person who had gotten in the car and tried to drive and apparently wasn't supposed to be driving, no longer really could safely. And there were a bunch of broken mailboxes on the trail from her house to this location where she went off the road to give the indication of why. And once you knew she was all right, admittedly, that's when the humor of this kind of popped in, where you're going, wow, how this vehicle managed to basically completely disappear off the road. This had happened during the daytime hours. If it had happened at night, there might have been a much worse outcome, because it's possible nobody would have known this was there. I mean, that's how deep the vehicle went. So as soon as they started talking about that sidewalk, my memory was sparked by this. I will always associate that location with that incident in my life. X number of years ago. I want to say maybe even 1989. I mean, that's how far back we're going. Years ago. I know it wasn't Providence Hood River at that point. I remember it would have been Hood River Memorial Hospital at that stage. Troubling little note, they posted on social media over the weekend from the Hood River Police Department. And I don't have any idea at this point if they've actually, been able to speak to someone about this or have someone even in custody. But the idea that someone may have tried starting fires at 4 locations in Hood River on Saturday, especially 2 of the locations they mentioned here. The 4 locations, 2 of them were bathrooms at the marina, which is probably not the most flammable place out there. But the Jamar area and the Frisbee Golf Park across from the River Skate Park, those are. That's the old Morrison Park area. That was of such debate a while back. And my concern about that thing was, and that's why I learned it was a park. I actually didn't know it was a park at the time. I know they had put the Frisbee Golf out there. I thought, okay, it's a piece of land that's available and it's publicly owned, and why not? Not being used right now, why not put something out there to do things with? But I always just looked at it more as we need to do something with this because it's a fire trap. I still kind of think that. It's got plenty of flammable material out there. But that's scary if someone was doing that. That is, and along being incredibly irresponsible, we get back to how important it is right now to be careful with fire. Happily, the winds and high temperatures have not lined up too much. There was a few things over the weekend, but they were fairly small in nature, or were kept small. I always should put the caveat on that. They were kept small because we've got some good people who, as I always put it, firefighters prevent news. And I say that in a very good way. They prevent news. They get to something and put it out. They prevent it from being news. And I hope they are able to continue to do so. They have a very tough job. But we have to help them out. We have to help them out in this effort. The other thing I've also said is I always thought it'd be a good PSA campaign. Nobody's taken me up on this. Bore a firefighter. Let's bore our firefighters by not causing any human-caused fires. Let's bore them. So they're not having to go extinguish stuff. And we can do that by doing our part of not causing any fire issues out there. So yeah, that caught my eye because that's a little scary. There's the weird stuff at Fossil. I mean, if you've heard the story at Fossil, that was just bizarre. The guy is facing domestic terrorism charges. Apparently this guy declared war on us as a country. He did. I'm not sure the good town of Fossil is necessarily a strategic area to try to attack. But what he did was frightening and scary and could have caused a lot of people a lot of damage. But it was just a strange story. He is in custody at this time. Kind of out of our primary listening area, so I did the story once. I haven't really followed up on it since then. But apparently he was also getting weapons too. I mean, there was a mental health issue here, most certainly. But that was a little eye-opening, to say the least. Let's see, what else from the weekend here? It's always when I have to fill time here, what to get through for the weekend and what might take place. I was basically at home. My wife had to go care for a family member. So it was me and the puppy at home. And we just basically were at home. Watched a lot of the U.S. Open. Former University of Oregon golfer Wyndham Clark wins. Second time in 4 years he won the U.S. Open. I will say, it was very noticeable that he was definitely not a crowd favorite. That was very noticeable. He was paired with Scottie Scheffler in the last day. I forget what shot it was, on 15 or 16, where it really drove home to me as I'm watching. Because usually if you're watching a golf tournament, people just tend to applaud good shots, and rightfully so. That's just what they do. And you always know there are certain golfers that are kind of crowd favorites, but not to the extent where it's so noticeable in reaction. Scheffler did something, place goes bonkers. Clark did something, barely the polite golf clap. Barely polite. I guess they also they threw 5 or 6 people out from that gallery that was following that group for derisive comments toward Clark. And I'll tell you, there are some people who go to these tournaments. You hear them if you watch them, and you hear them that you wish they'd throw out, because they'll after a drive, they're the ones yelling "You the man" or like constantly. I'm actually amazed because, okay, you're walking 18 holes behind these folks. I'm amazed you can stagger your way through it, because I'm assuming they've been lubricated in some manner. But Wyndham Clark wins again for that tournament. And he's had a rough couple of years in between. In fact, he also, I think it was at Oakmont last year, he kind of reacted poorly to a bad round and kind of trashed a country club, and he had to pay for it. He had to trash a locker room, I should say. And I can't remember the full story, but it was not good. It's definitely not the image of the emotionalist professional golfer, kind of running through the ups and downs of everything. But he hung on. He was up by 6 going into the final round. He coughed most of it up by the time we got through 6 holes. I thought Sam Burns was going to win. And he barely missed the putt that in the end would have sent us to a playoff. He had that feeling all of us golfers have. The putt just turned at the last second. Just turned. They were playing in wind and making a big deal out of it. I think those of us who play here in the Gorge realize you play in wind. You just deal with it. That's all. Well, they were playing on it was a links type course on the Long Island in New York, on the coast. It wasn't particularly the most interesting links course I've ever watched, though. And they go to Shinnecock a lot, too. That's the name of the course. About every 12 years, they play U.S. Open there. Next year, they're at Pebble Beach, which is, to me, the iconic golf course. It is the great golf course on the coast of California. 8:50. Random neuron firings is what you got. We'll be back after this.
Everyone deserves to grow old with respect, but many older adults experience abuse, including physical or emotional harm, financial exploitation, isolation, sexual abuse, and neglect. Some older adults are at higher risk, including those over 65 who are LGBTQIA2S+, and people living with HIV. Too often, this abuse goes unreported. Abuse can happen to anyone. It's important to know what abuse is and learn how to spot the signs that someone is being harmed. Learning how to take action is important. Reporting suspected abuse, even if you're not sure, can make a real difference in your life or the life of someone you know and care about. Abuse reports are confidential. Every older adult deserves respect. Recognize and report abuse. Learn more at Oregon.gov/respect. That's Oregon.gov/respect. Brought to you by the Oregon Department of Human Services.
Coffee for Mid-Columbia Today guests is provided by Hood River Coffee Roasters, the Gorge's local coffee roasters, on Tucker Road on the Heights in Hood River.
8:52 in the morning on Mid-Columbia Today. Tomorrow, we're not sure it's going to be on to make my job harder today. I got a few, though, listed here ideas. I brainstormed here. Wednesday, we're going to schedule to talk Washington Gorge Action Programs. Thursday, we're scheduled to talk Columbia Gorge Community College. And Friday, Master Gardeners are scheduled with us to take us to the end. I got a couple of weeks here. I just don't have a whole lot of guests planned. And then it picks up again. Just the way it works sometimes. Of course, we got fairs coming up. We got the fair season's right around the corner. I did get. In fact, I need to email someone Families in the Park, got that scheduled for Jackson Park in August. 4 more free concerts take place there. So that is coming up and worthy of note. But yeah, plenty of things starting to percolate around here for the summertime a little bit. Of course, the thing is also we have vacations. All go on vacation here at some point a couple times, of course, this summer. I think I'll try and nail that down today, too. Get that taken care of. That way Cameron can plan. Person who will fill in for me can plan. All those things. Might be kind of nice to let them do that rather than call like on Friday. Oh, I'm not going to be here next week. Good luck. Cameron just absolutely squirmed when I just said that. I will not do that. That's not what you can do in a workplace. Tempting on occasion. I've been frustrated on occasion to the point where I felt like doing it, but you can't do it. Maybe that's why you should take your cat to work today. I don't know how that would go, taking a cat to work. Does a cat really want to leave the house particularly? Most cats I've known like to stick right kind of where they are. My dog's the same way. My dog always wants to go, but as soon as my dog gets there, this is from the puppy to other dogs. Once you get there, the dog would like then right then to go home. You know, but they want to go, but they also then when they get there don't want to stay. They want to get back home. Just keep moving, apparently. That's the message. 8:54 in the morning on Mid-Columbia today. Actually, a little phone rang there, so I can't break away yet. I was going to try to. I don't have anything of note necessarily to continue on this train of thought. Like I say, you're getting random neuron firings here for the past few minutes. The Dallas City Council, by the way, also meets tonight. I'm looking for it on the agenda. I can't find it, but apparently something, the mayor of the Dalles was with us Thursday, Rich Mays. I'm not sure he's going to be there tonight. I know he could be on the show tomorrow. That's why I have a gap tomorrow. So, I saw alluded to that they may be talking the First Street project and why they may have to extend it even further. And you heard Rich allude to it Thursday about, finding things, the archaeological part of all this. And it's starting to back this up a little bit, apparently. So I thought I saw that it's on the agenda, but I couldn't find it on the written agenda. I'm told it's on the agenda. I'll have to find out if it is or not. But they meet tonight at 5:30 in the Dallas City Hall. 8:56, we'll wrap things up after this.
I am Imelda Padilla. I'm a daughter, a mother, a sister, and a proud member of this community. Being part of Skyline Health, both on the hospital and the foundation board, allows me to support the healthcare that this community needs to keep us strong. That's why I am committed to supporting Skyline, not just as a patient, but as a board member. This hospital makes our community stronger and healthier every day. I am Skyline.
Eastside Paving has a local team of professional paving experts ready to handle any size job for you. Eastside Paving's 35 years of experience provides the knowledge, procedures, and resources to ensure the job is done correct. Licensed, bonded, and insured in Oregon and Washington, Eastside Paving specializes in industrial, commercial, and residential jobs. Whether it's overlay, parking lots, private roads, patching, or driveway resurfacing, Eastside Paving has you covered. Call Rick Saran today for a free estimate. 503-519-6478. EastsidePaving.com. CCB 68962.
Tune in weekday mornings at 8:05 and keep up with community events and issues with the Mid-Columbia Today Show on Mid-Columbia's news leaders, 98.3 FM and 1340 AM KIHR. Special thanks to our sponsors, Skyline Hospital, Eastside Paving, and Del Carpine Automotive.
And it is now 8:57 in the morning on Mid-Columbia Today as we head toward a sunny and warm day. It's going to be like this for, sounds like, to midweek at least. Going to be sunny and warm and not a lot of wind, happily. It's for the first couple days. I see on my iPhone, it says for Hood River, wind gusts up to 2 miles per hour. Is that even worth writing down? But chance of rain apparently starts Thursday and continues into Sunday. And we're going to cool down quite a bit. We are now officially into summer, of course. Yesterday morning, like at 1:40, I guess it was, we officially entered summertime. And in the great Northwest tradition, happily, it's gonna the early part of summer. Oh, we always joke the best part, the summer really, in at least in the Eugene area, was like mid-July to the end of September. In reality, because as many people, of course, know, around the Northwest, September can be the most beautiful time of year. It really can. And then you don't really get into fall toward winter weather until, you get somewhat into October. But we're going to have hot for the next 3 days at least, and then it's going to cool down and perhaps be rainy over the weekend. We'll see. Forecasts do change and are often wrong. But I'm done finally. I have filled the time. And I'm told that apparently some people they subscribe to podcasts where somebody just does what I just did. I'm not that comfortable with it. We'll try it with guests tomorrow. For Cameron Eisenberg, I'm Mark Bailey. See you on Tuesday.
The Mid-Columbia Today Show is a public affairs presentation of Bicoastal Media Columbia River. The views expressed on the program are not necessarily those of the station, parent company, or of the sponsors. We welcome your suggestions for future shows. Call us at 541-386-1511. Listen to Mid-Columbia Today where you want. Follow or subscribe to Mid-Columbia Today wherever you download your podcast to get the show delivered every day to your mobile device.